Paris has always been synonymous with elegance, history, and timeless architectural beauty. But what happens when this grandeur must fit into a small apartment? In this video, we explore how architects translate classical Parisian design principles into compact living spaces, proving that limited square meters never mean limited elegance. From the exterior facade to the finest interior details, this apartment reveals how thoughtful design can elevate everyday living. Paris is a city defined by density, where centuries-old buildings line narrow streets and apartments are often modest in size. Architects working here must respect history while responding to modern living needs. This small apartment sits within that context, surrounded by classical facades and urban rhythm. Its design draws inspiration from the city itself, turning spatial constraints into opportunities for refined architectural storytelling. Before stepping inside, the exterior already sets expectations. The building's facade features balanced proportions, stone detailing, and tall windows typical of Parisian architecture. Even though the apartment is small, these classical elements provide a powerful sense of prestige. Architects often rely on this external framework, allowing the interior design to echo and amplify the elegance already embedded in the building's bones. Entering the building, the transition space becomes critical. A narrow corridor or shared staircase is treated not as an afterthought, but as part of the overall experience. Subtle lighting, preserved moldings, and muted color tones prepare the mind for the classical atmosphere within. Architects understand that grandeur begins long before reaching the apartment door, especially in compact Parisian residences. The apartment door itself becomes a symbolic boundary between the city and private life. Often painted in deep, classic tones, it hints at the elegance beyond. Hardware choices, panel proportions, and finishes echo traditional Parisian craftsmanship. This careful attention to a small detail reflects an architectural mindset where every element, no matter how modest, contributes to a cohesive classical narrative. Inside, the entry hall is compact yet intentional. Architects use symmetry, mirrors, and soft lighting to visually expand the space. Classical wall panels or subtle moldings define proportions, giving the area a sense of order and calm. Rather than cluttering the hall, the design relies on restraint, allowing the architecture itself to provide character and elegance. One of the greatest assets in many Paris apartments is ceiling height. Architects emphasize this vertical dimension through tall doors, elongated wall panels, and ceiling moldings. In a small apartment, height becomes a substitute for floor area. By celebrating verticality, the space feels airy and dignified, reinforcing the classical spirit without requiring additional square meters. Moldings are not merely decorative, they structure the space visually. In this apartment, cornices, wall frames, and ceiling details guide the eye and establish hierarchy. Architects carefully scale these elements to avoid overwhelming the space. The result is a refined classical language that adds depth and sophistication, while maintaining a sense of balance appropriate for compact living. Color selection plays a crucial role in enhancing spaciousness. Soft whites, warm creams, and gentle grays dominate the apartment, reflecting natural light and emphasizing architectural details. These tones are deeply rooted in Parisian interiors, allowing classical elements to stand out subtly. Architects use this restrained palette to create continuity, making the apartment feel cohesive and serene. The flooring sets the emotional tone of the home. Traditional parquet, often arranged in herringbone or chevron patterns, instantly evokes Parisian heritage. In a small apartment, this pattern adds visual richness without clutter. Architects choose materials that age gracefully, reinforcing the idea that true luxury lies in craftsmanship and longevity rather than excess. The living room, though compact, is treated as a modern interpretation of a classical salon. Furniture is carefully scaled, with elegant silhouettes and minimal ornamentation. Architectural symmetry guides layout decisions, ensuring harmony. By prioritizing circulation and visual clarity, architects allow the space to feel open, refined, and perfectly suited for contemporary Parisian living. Natural light is one of the most powerful tools in small space design. Tall windows are left unobstructed, framed by classic drapery that enhances height. Architects avoid heavy treatments, instead allowing daylight to wash across moldings and walls. This interplay between light and architecture creates depth, movement, and an ever-changing atmosphere throughout the day. Furniture choices respect the classical envelope without competing with it. Clean-lined sofas, refined armchairs, and discreet tables echo traditional forms in a contemporary way. Architects often select fewer pieces, prioritizing quality and proportion. This approach preserves openness while reinforcing the apartment's timeless identity, proving that elegance thrives in simplicity. In a small apartment, storage is essential. Architects integrate built-in solutions that blend seamlessly with classical wall paneling. Cabinets disappear into architectural lines, maintaining visual calm. This strategy prevents clutter from disrupting the elegance of the space, ensuring that function supports, rather than undermines, the apartment's refined Parisian character. Rather than dividing the apartment into many small rooms, architects focus on flow. Subtle transitions replace rigid separations, using changes in lighting, ceiling details, or furniture placement. This fluidity enhances the perception of space while maintaining distinct zones. Classical design principles guide these transitions, ensuring coherence throughout the home. The dining space is modest yet dignified. A small table sits beneath a decorative ceiling element or chandelier, reinforcing its importance. Architects often place dining areas near windows to maximize light and atmosphere. Despite its size, the space feels ceremonial, honoring the Parisian tradition of thoughtful, elegant dining experiences. The kitchen balances classical inspiration with contemporary efficiency. Cabinetry features subtle detailing, framed doors, and muted finishes. Appliances are integrated to preserve visual harmony. Architects design the kitchen as an extension of the living space, ensuring it contributes to the apartment's elegance rather than feeling purely utilitarian. Material selection is intentional and restrained. Natural stone, wood, and metal accents provide tactile richness without overwhelming the senses. Architects favor finishes that reflect light softly, enhancing depth. This quiet luxury aligns perfectly with classical Parisian interiors, where refinement is felt rather than loudly displayed. As we move into the bedroom, the atmosphere becomes softer and more intimate. Architects often narrow the palette further, emphasizing comfort and tranquility. Classical detailing remains, but in a more subdued form. This transition signals rest and retreat, proving that even within a small apartment, emotional zoning is possible through design. In the bedroom, proportion guides every decision. The bed aligns with architectural elements, often centered within wall paneling. Furniture is minimal, allowing the room to breathe. Architects resist overdecoration, letting classical proportions and symmetry provide visual richness. The result is a serene, elegant space that feels larger than its actual size. Storage in the bedroom is seamlessly integrated. Floor-to-ceiling wardrobes are designed to mimic wall panels, maintaining architectural continuity. This approach preserves the classical aesthetic while meeting modern storage needs. Architects understand that invisibility is often the most luxurious solution in small, refined interiors. Artificial lighting is carefully layered to enhance architectural details. Wall sconces, table lamps, and subtle ceiling fixtures create depth and warmth. Architects avoid harsh overhead lighting, preferring softer sources that highlight moldings and textures. This strategy transforms the apartment at night, reinforcing its classical elegance. Even the bathroom reflects the apartment's design philosophy. Marble-inspired surfaces, traditional fixtures, and balanced layouts evoke classic Parisian style. Architects maximize function through clever planning while maintaining a sense of luxury. Despite limited space, the bathroom feels composed, elegant, and thoughtfully designed. Mirrors play a strategic role throughout the apartment. Placed opposite windows or within paneling, they amplify light and depth. Architects use reflection not merely as decoration, but as a spatial tool. In classical interiors, mirrors have always symbolized elegance, and here they also enhance perceived space. Artwork, objects, and textiles are carefully curated. Rather than filling shelves, architects recommend fewer, meaningful pieces. This approach preserves visual clarity and allows architectural details to shine. In a small Parisian apartment, restraint becomes the ultimate expression of sophistication. Beyond what we see, architects consider how the apartment sounds and feels. Soft furnishings, rugs, and curtains subtly improve acoustics. This attention to sensory comfort enhances daily living. True luxury, especially in compact spaces, is experienced not only visually but through calm and quiet as well. Symmetry is a powerful classical tool. Architects use it to bring order and calm to small interiors. Balanced layouts, paired elements, and aligned furniture create harmony. This visual stability helps the space feel intentional and composed, reinforcing the sense of grandeur despite limited dimensions. Throughout the apartment, historical references are subtle yet present. From moldings to parquet, each element nods to Parisian heritage. Architects carefully reinterpret these features for modern life, ensuring the space feels authentic rather than nostalgic. This balance defines successful classical interiors today. Despite its classical appearance, the apartment supports contemporary living. Flexible layouts, integrated technology, and efficient storage ensure comfort. Architects demonstrate that tradition and modernity are not opposites, but partners. In small apartments, adaptability is essential, and thoughtful design makes it seamless. Grandeur is not about size, it's about feeling. This apartment proves that classical design can elevate daily life, offering dignity, calm, and beauty. Architects design not just spaces but experiences. Even in tight quarters, the emotional impact of thoughtful design can be profound and lasting. From vertical emphasis to restrained palettes, this Parisian apartment offers universal lessons. Architects show us that proportion, light, and coherence matter more than square meters. Classical elements, when used wisely, can enhance any small space. These principles transcend style, geography, and budget. In conclusion, this small apartment demonstrates how architects create grandeur within tight spaces through classical design intelligence. By respecting proportions, embracing light, and prioritizing architectural harmony, even the most compact home can feel elegant and timeless. Paris teaches us that true luxury is not measured in size, but in thoughtful, enduring design.